First thing I want to start with is, our communication with you. We've always towed the line of what we want to do with communicating to our base. For a long time, we've settled on once a quarter. Then people told us, hey, we don't hear from you. I need to hear from you guys. What's going on? So we're going to start upping the cadence of that a bit and making sure it's very relevant, of course. So it's definitely once a quarter. It might be twice a quarter. I think people want to hear from us if it's relevant information. So you'll be seeing more communication from us. But we are calling it connections and connecting the dots to you, our customer. I think somebody might have joined could dial in information from my screen telling everybody to dial in on the webinar. Actually, that was for the presenter only. So if you are on, please hit mute. I appreciate it. Okay, here we go. So as we all know, 2 years ago, which is incredible how fast time flies, Mitel purchased ShoreTel. Mitel had been courting ShoreTel for a long, long time, trying to add their assets to their line card, and it finally happened 2 years ago. And what Mitel was really enamored with was the cloud offering. Mitel did not have a cloud offering. Mitel purchased the cloud solution from ShoreTel as well as their premise solution from ShoreTel. With that joining of the entities, they became a worldwide leader in many, many things with revenue, Magic Quadrant from Gartner, #1 market share, and in a lot of UCaaS, the UC marketplaces. So a lot of really cool things with the synergies, and definitely stronger together with the acquisitions. So about 6 months after Mitel purchased ShoreTel, a private equity group, Searchlight, bought 100% of the ownership of Mitel, which obviously ShoreTel was part of or is part of. And why do they do that? Is because the scrutiny that a public company gets on their revenue and how they make their money. Mitel was in a quandrum of a value investor versus a growth investor. And they had this huge install base, cash cow, making a lot of money, but their growth was not accelerating like the RingCentrals and the 8x8s. And so there was this dichotomy of thought process there where, are we a value company or are we a growth company? And so you couldn't attract both investors to a publicly traded company without a strategic vision on one or the other. And so Searchlight saw the opportunity, brought them private. And so now as they transition to the cloud, they have the ability to do this without the public scrutiny. So what they've done about 6 months to a year ago is they split the two business units into UC, Unified Communications, and UCaaS. We'll go through a little bit about that. What is UC? The definition of UC, Unified Communications, right? Voice, video, desktop, collaboration, all these things you see in front of you are the differences of what brings together a single integrated solution within the ShoreTel, within Unified Communications. So now the difference between UC and UCaaS is UC is premises hardware. UCaaS is Unified Communications as a service. You hear as a service all day long. That just means you're consuming this as an OpEx versus a CapEx model. It's all sitting in the cloud somewhere else. So good for everybody to start using these nomenclatures. UC is prem, UCaaS is cloud. So something people ask when I go to UC or UCaaS, is voice dead? I mean, no one uses voice anymore. I argue that maybe the desk set might be going away. It is definitely less utilized, but voice by no means are dead because people started putting voice on a soft phone. So talking through their application with a USB headset into the actual PC itself. Then it got moved to a cell phone, and then it got moved to a smartphone. And now these smartphones have apps on them without the native dialer to Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint. You now have these apps that are GoToMeeting, Mitel, WebEx, Zoom, have these apps where voice is going through these apps through the smartphone. And then the protocol that really disrupted our industry, something called WebRTC. Now, WebRTC allows for real-time protocol within a browser. So this is pretty darn cool. So you can download WebRTC, plug it into a browser, and now fundamentally I've created almost an endpoint that is at no charge. So Chrome, all these different browsers and providers, the Mitels, the 8x8s, the RingCentrals, all now have the ability to do voice over a browser. I would imagine, I can't tell from the attendees, but I would imagine most of you are listening to me through the browser right now, not dialing into a 10-digit number. Some of you did that, I'm sure, but most of you are listening through a browser, and that's because of WebRTC. If I opened it up through GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, you guys could talk to me through your PC. And this product alone, this protocol alone has disrupted our whole industry. So I say voice is not dead. It's just being consumed in different places. And God forbid, I hope it's not dead, because the texting and the emails has got to slow down, right? Let's get back to real personal communications. So cloud, prem, private, hybrid, you hear all these different talks about cloud and what it is. Mitel's theory and theme is they've got you covered, right? They have offerings in all cloud and premise-based scenarios. On the bottom is where the product that we're talking about today fit in, with unified communications, with the MiVoice Business and MiVoice Connect, which is our product. They say it goes to 2,500 seats. I have many more that go to much larger. Above that, if you want to do hybrid cloud or private cloud, we have the ability of putting stuff in Mitel's colo or your colo and making it a private cloud. And then obviously their UCaaS offering, what Mitel bought ShoreTel for, which is fundamentally taking the product that you know and love are using today. It's in the cloud. They made it multi-tenant, so multiple people can share that instance in their cloud, which is now going to Google GCP. So Mitel's got you covered for UCaaS, UC, private, hybrid, and on-site. Little shameless plug, Packet Fusion, Platinum, Gold. We're Platinum. As you can see, it doesn't take a lot to become Platinum versus Gold, but we are 3, 4, 5 times the Platinum certification requirements. We're dedicated to the Mitel Connect platform. We just opened up our dedicated TAC in Austin for Tier 1 and Tier 2. We still have Tier 1 and Tier 2 both in Irvine as well as in Pleasanton, but our main TAC and our TAC manager is in Austin right now. So very, very excited about that. SLA, you guys all know about our SLA, live answer, first call resolution, all U.S. employees. Upgrades, we're going to get into this a lot more in a little bit. Monitoring, we monitor about 250 of our 550 customers. We'd love to, actually it's 350. We'd love to monitor more. If we're not monitoring you, please get a hold of us. It's included in in our offering. It's included in the support pricing. Obviously, all the stuff is warranted. We have some managed service offerings, right? I have a lot of our customers that are trying to do more with less. They're outsourcing their tax support or their help desk to us. So we answer on behalf of your organization. We have the ability to put people on site. We have people to do a one-day-a-week kind of things. I could also argue that our support agreement that we have with you today is a fixed price support agreement. You don't get an additional price from me, so we are a managed service on our support for your ShoreTel system. So doing some fun stuff there, and this is becoming a big part of our business, this managed service. Connects, upgrades, right? No charge. If you are under support with Packet Fusion, we consider you a customer, and you now get support. You get an upgrade at no charge with a couple caveats, right? We do charge for on-site training. We do charge for lab environments if you want to do a lab environment and do training on the lab and do the upgrade on the lab prior to. There are certain things, and if we're going to touch your server hardware or your VMware instance, you're asking us to do that kind of stuff. Those are the several areas, but the labor to upgrade, the backup, the planning, the meetings, the actual software, all that is no charge. So we encourage you to take advantage of this. I'm not going to read through this. Hopefully you guys are reading all these things as we go. We have a full team dedicated to just upgrades. You know, as I mentioned, I don't charge for you. So this is a cost center to us, and we're okay with that because we view a support agreement as somebody who's going to call us and doesn't want to get charged, and we're going to make sure that you guys are upgraded and on the most current stuff. Here's our team. Erin Rowley is leading this, big fan of what she's doing, and she's got 5 people underneath us, upgrade engineers, project managers, and we've got a pretty cool little rotation that we're doing with it, and things are going well. So let's get into the nitty gritty of all this. Now that's kind of a little about where Mitel's going, what we're up to, kind of how we're doing things, but now the bits and bytes and speeds and feeds and the nuances of these upgrades. Certain things are end of sale and end of life, right? The first bullet point, 14.2, has been out for 5 years now. At the end of this year, December 2019 is when it was supposed to be end of life. We hemmed and hawed, and I'm on the partner advisory council along with about 12 other ShoreTel VARs in the country. And we basically said, we need to move that out to 2020 for various reasons. And we were successful to push that out till end of next year. So good news is still got support, still got tech support with it, bug fixes, et cetera, et cetera. Right below that, the ShoreGear 30, 50, 90, all those ones on that line are no longer for sale. They couldn't get parts to build them. I will say there was a run that Mitel did for the 90s and 90Vs. There's about 500 of those. I sold about 150 of them last 2 months ago, so there aren't many left. Good news is I do have a ton of these still in stock, refurbished. And these all still work on Connect. So I'm looking at my list, the list who are on this, and I would say 95% of you guys have those switches, the newer generations ones. The last line of the ones we're concerned about. VPN concentrator, remote phones, end of life, it's still supported. You just can't get licenses for it, and it's still supported actually in Connect too. But we've got some cool products that enhance that. We'll get to that in a little bit. Where the crux of the problem lies is in this fourth bullet point. These things are literally 15 years old. So you've got your money out of these things and they're fully depreciated, and your CFO is fine with it because he can't depreciate them anymore. And if he is, I'd love to understand how. So these boxes, the full width, when you upgrade to Connect, there isn't even a drop-down menu to put these things back into work, right? That's what those look like. The full U half-width switches, these are the ShoreGears, are the ones listed on the right there. Those are no longer for sale, but they work on 14.2, obviously, and on Connect. So new sales, right? End of new sales. This is when somebody says, all right, the net new logo is not going to have the old software or the old products. I can't sell it, right? End of add-on sales. These are to existing customers. So once something goes into sale, you get a couple of years of add-on sales, so I can still sell to existing customers. End of life, you just can't even get it. End of technical support means there's no more support on it. Good news is these several generations of switches, the most current one that's been out for about 2 years now, are the ShoreTel switches, same footprint, full U, 1/2 width. They just are doing more inside the same footprint. So I've got the same box that can put 500 switches, 500 phones connected to it. So I can put 1,000 phones in a single U. Pretty cool. I'm going to go more on this in the next slide, but my favorite thing right now on this is this 2-stage upgrade, right? The biggest part of an upgrade today is downloading the code to these remote boxes over the wire. Once you get to Connect and get these new boxes, the next version, I can download the next version of code and pre-stage it, so I can just hit the executable when it's time to upgrade. Big fans. Here's the new boxes, right? Again, hardware. We'll get a little bit later. This is hardware. So all these hunt groups and BCAs and max conferencing. In the old days, we had to do calculations and DSP resources and oversubscribed, and it was hard. It was confusing, but we got through it, and that's what we added the value. That's what we did. Now I don't have to think about any of this. There's so many resources, DSP resources, in these little boxes that they just are. You just consume them, and the theoretical maximum, all of them added together, will never outpace or outprocess or outcapacity that box. So big fan. Top right, this VMware VM voicemail. There used to be a 50V and a 90V voicemail in the box and flash memory. All these boxes, these top three, the ones you buy today, in the very near future, we'll be able to turn on software and we'll have voicemail back in these remote boxes. Big fans, can't wait. Not that exciting. We always had trouble with extended loop length with analog on the older 24As, which, by the way, I didn't make any mention of those. The older ShoreTel 24As still are supported on Connect. But the new ShoreTel 24A and 48A have a 10,000 plus foot loop length. So if you like analog, we do analog real well now. But who's buying hardware, right? Most of our customers are buying virtual or have bought virtual. So if you want to replace your hardware with virtual VMware or Hyper-V, we're big fans. And it makes an upgrade much easier, which we'll get to in the next couple slides. So we have the ability to virtualize both the phone extension and the SIP trunk license extension. If you already have SIP trunks, on the physical side, in kind of a switch, we can do a license swap to a virtual switch. Some basics here. You can only virtualize IP, media path type technologies, SIP, MGCP, those kind of things. You can only virtualize packet-based things. Things that are circuit-based technologies, such as TDMA, which is T1 PRI, analog COTs, FXO, FXS, those are physical, and you just point blank can't, nobody can virtualize those. Those still need physical gateways. So how do we upgrade? This is the fun part, right? This is where the rubber meets the road. How do we get you from 14.2, if you have the full width systems, how do we get you from 14.2 to Connect, right? We can do something called a flash cut. We can have the ability to take these boxes at Friday at 5 o'clock. We unplug the old ones, plug in the new ones, upgrade you. Great. You're in business on, a couple hours later. Great for a single site, maybe a double site, maybe even 3 sites. If you're some of our larger customers, the Yelps, the Genslers, these, multi-thousand worldwide organizations, we're not going to do this across the globe. It just physically can't be done. It can be, it's difficult. So we've got a couple options for you, right? One is take your full width switches, and because these second generation switches, the ShoreGears, work on 14.2, we would hardware swap all your older switches with the newer second generation switches, the ShoreGears. And if you want to then upgrade to Connect and you're done, great. You can buy the older switches that are going to be good for another 5 to 7 years, 5 years or so, which is great, and we're done. Or we go back and we do a hardware swap of the newer, latest, the ShoreTel versions, and we swap them out. So like a double swap, we'll call this a phased cutover. We've done all these. We've done both. Which is right. There's no right. There's no wrong. It's just what you guys believe in. My favorite one is this next one, right? If you're on 14.2 and you've got older switches, I'd like to, because on 14.2, we still support virtual, right? P to V, physical to virtual. I can upgrade your virtual phone switches, your virtual SIP trunks, your virtual SBC, your ECC DVS director. I can get it all virtual and then upgrade to Connect, and then you're on Connect with virtual. This is my favorite way of doing things. This is the way most people like it. Some organizations aren't virtual ready. Some organizations don't want to involve their networking team because they're the telephony team and they want to do things on their own. So they keep things physical. One of my environments today will provide a quote-unquote a black box. It's a Dell server. We'll put a Mitel sticker on it, and it'll look like it comes from Mitel, or we do have servers that do come from Mitel that I can put VMware on that we support, so the networking team doesn't have to support it. It's kind of quote-unquote undercover underneath the guise of the telephony phone system. So we do all that. Right, server specifications. This is important, right? These servers, the Connect does require more processing power. And if you're virtual, you have to spec these things out correctly for all the different OUs that we have to put in and the different executables that we have to put in. So this is a big part of our process that we work with you guys on the server specifications. The takeaway on this slide is, hey, we support a bunch of Windows servers. Windows 2008 is supported on Connect, but in January 2020, Microsoft is stopping support for Windows 2008. So our enterprises and even all of our organizations are finding the security hole in that. They want to get off the 2008 and make sure they get on newer servers. At a minimum, you can get on newer servers on 14.2 without doing the major upgrade. Or while we're doing all this, let's make sure we get you on the right server software to get you to Connect, so you don't have these security vulnerabilities that could happen next year. So what happens, one of the things that happens when you go from 14.2 to Connect, we're big fans of, is in 14.2 you bought for, left-hand side, $199 list price. You only got an extension and mailbox, and then you had to pay a la carte for all the things below it. Today, you get all the things listed: the web dial-in, G Suite integration, Chrome plugin, mobility app, all these things that used to be charged a la carte, you now get for $199, right? Going over to the right, the standard, which basically if you want to put a remote phone outside your firewall and connect in, there's a one-time charge of a $100 increase. And then if you want to do the operator, work group, or agent or supervisor, it's the $499. We also have a couple ones, the courtesy for, phones in a conference room, for the lobby, and then telephony that people just need to talk and have a voicemail and not do much else. So lots of different flavors of licensing. When you upgrade from 14.2 to Connect, the extension and mailbox license that was alone all of a sudden upgrades, and we're going to give you the key codes for all these things on the left-hand side. All these things, you're going to get the key code for all this, which is real fun. And we'll kind of show you some stuff on all this stuff in a second. How long does it take? Well, this is the actual upgrade time on the Wednesday, Thursday night or weekend, whatever it is. There's a lot of time that we do prior to with planning and backups and all the different things that we need to do to make sure a successful upgrade. This is the actual night of or day of upgrade. Small systems, pretty plain and simple, 4 hours or less. Medium system, 6 hours. Large system, 8 hours. They generally don't go 8 hours. And as you are adding and subtracting these applications, 30 minutes up or down, right? I've seen a medium one go 3 or 4 hours, and I've seen small ones go longer, depending on how complex and how much we have to do. But that's a rough time frame. So now we're going to get into features. What do you get when you get to Connect, right? We talked about how. Now we're going to talk about what and why you want to do this, right? Everybody talks about cloud, and everybody says, well, how do I get there, right? Mitel makes it super easy for me to do something called hybrid sites. I plug in with SIP trunks for my Connect premise. I connect into the cloud, and then inside the cloud, I put my phones so I can have remote offices on Connect Cloud, and I can have my premise-based system on premise, and I can, through some SIP trunks, some proprietary stuff that they're doing, get four-digit dialing, calling party name display, common directory. Everybody will have the same exact client, same phone type, and this helps, obviously, with the migration to cloud. Pretty fun stuff. Right? No one likes Microsoft. Well, I shouldn't say that. People are starting to like them more, but, the reliance on Microsoft is painful for most IT people. And the ability to get off of the dependency on them is huge. So we can now do Linux on our DVSs, and it will be on the HQ server soon, as well as our contact center and the other servers. But to start, our DVS is Linux optional today. So it comes with the executable, the Linux executable kernel with the download, so we don't have to do Linux, and then we just single executable on a base shell of the server, bang, we're up and going. We don't have to worry about the OS. And then the ShoreTel, it's all one and the same. Big fan, works great. Love to talk to you more about it. This was probably the biggest thing that came out with Connect several years ago. This was our Edge Gateway. This is the ability for me to put the 400 series phones as well as my Connect client and have them integrate or connect through the public internet to our ShoreTel phone system, Mitel Connect phone system. And so this gives seamless integration. Somebody at Starbucks, somebody at home, I can then launch my Connect client, it authenticates right in. What was happening is people were doing these VPN appliances at home, and the only reason they were doing it is to get a hard physical connection all the way through so it would support a remote phone. But all their other applications are web-based. They didn't need this thing because you'd authenticate through the browser. We now have the ability to have no SOHO device anywhere. The phones authenticate, the Connect client, no other need for VPN software, connects right through, and we're in business. So we're big fans of this, and it's the product itself, core software is virtualized only, and it's no charge. You just have to pay per session on the license. You give them a one-time $100 charge that I alluded to. Biggest thing here, a lot of certificates, a lot of security. The director is HTTPS. That's our biggest fan there. We got some AD authentication. We're encrypting all the RTP. So big fans of what they're doing here. The SA100 have the ability to do, as I talked about, WebRTC, no plugins for the remote. This is our service appliance that allows for our instant messaging, our screen sharing, or our collaboration one-to-many. So cool little box, web conferencing, right? People can join and present via browser. Mobility is now included in no charge. I've had to charge for this for a long time, and while it was a very, very cool product, everybody else caught up, and now this is a commodity, if you will, and this just needs to be included in the base price, so you get this at no charge. So this is the ability for me to do the conference, the transfer, the presence, the IM, all these things from an app on my iPhone or Droid over the 4G LTE or Wi-Fi or the CDMA, TDMA 10-digit phone number connectivity. So a lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff. Love to show this to you if you're interested. These aren't so new, but we've got Mitel IP 400 series. So if you have the older 200 series, 230, 560, 655, those kind of things, we've got new phones. These are actually old phones. I got some better news for you in a little bit. But these phones are going to be around for a long time. There's actually a promo going on right now. Buy 3, get 1 free. Mass notification. So for our schools, our cities, K through 12, higher ed, colleges, the ability for me to, from a single place, page through multiple phones, through multiple speakers, through multiple lockdowns, closed doors, hit the places that do the mass notification to email alert use, the ClickMail, Everbridge, etc., Rave. We integrate all those. We have got a common place that integrates all these mass notification type things where I'll take inputs, things from NOAA, things from phones, things from sensors, things from push buttons, and then I'll do things with them like lockdown, sirens, page, mass notification, etc. So big fans of what's going on with this. And if anybody's interested, make sure you get a hold of us. Something that Packet Fusion offers is disaster recovery as a service. So this is the ability for us to have a product, some telephony equipment in a colo, and I have our customers fail over to our colo for contact center or emergency response for emergencies. And so once a call comes to us, We can then place it in a voicemail. We can go to an IP phone, to a browser, to a 10-digit number, to a soft phone. And so we have the ability for some of our larger contact centers. So if things go, awry, we can move 800 numbers quickly over to us, or SIP trunks over to us. Connect, you get a new director interface, much more intuitively laid out. We'd love to, and you'll get training included in our upgrade for you to get a 2-3 hour tutorial on this. It just cleaned up a lot of duplicate work and noise in 14.2. The client has changed entirely. It's now more clean, and it expands out when you click on things and goes back when you don't need it. Expands out, you get the quick look of people who's on the phone, who's not. You can IM them. My favorite part is I'm on a Mac right now, and I now have parity between Mac and PC, and I can use this in a hotel room, at home, a Wi-Fi on Starbucks, and I've got no VPN required. I just launch my soft phone or my client, and I'm connected in. Kind of what I showed you in that licensing page, all these features are now included at no charge when you upgrade to Connect. So the 14.2 client just kind of got a little lost, and it's 5 years old. Like, it is what it is. We got to get you guys upgraded to get the more current fun stuff. What we're finding is a lot of people aren't even using the client anymore because they haven't gotten to Connect, and they haven't gotten to take advantage of the mobility and the IM and the presence and the, all the things that UC offer. They feel like they don't get it in 14.2. So we need to get everybody to Connect so they can take advantage of this unified communications, and we, as Packet Fusion, become more strategic within your organization, because we're talking about unified communications versus, basic routing and dial tone in 14.2. There's a toolbar, one-touch toolbar for things now in the Connect client. Pretty cool. If you want, you can have a Skype plugin. Some of our customers are saying, hey, I don't want your client, I'm using Skype. Well, great. Skype doesn't do so well for the actual telephony portion of it. They do a great job for teamwork and for collaboration, but when I get to real-time protocol, conference transfer, just the basics, they don't do the best job. We have the ability to put a Skype plugin within your clients, and you use your Mitel as the plumbing, as the telephony call path. So all the features that you love in Mitel Connect are now ported into the plugin, into the Skype plugin. Skype is now going Teams. Teams is developing their new API to allow this same thing to happen. We can talk about this if you were interested, but this same idea will be into Teams as soon as they have defined their plugin, so we can get there, and it's coming. Chrome plugin. I have a lot of customers that say, hey, I don't like Microsoft. I don't want any more software. I want to do everything via the browser. We have the ability to put a plugin in your Chrome browser, and now I've got soft phone, I've got presence, I've got your voicemail, I've got your contact, your directory. All these things are now, without a soft phone, proprietary software downloaded by Mitel Connect, or within an actual client. We now have the ability to do all this. This is the WebRTC thing I talked about earlier, remember? Because of WebRTC, I now get to put a soft phone within the browser. Pretty cool stuff. If you guys are going Google, we have a lot of Google integrations, voicemail integration where you delete one in your email, it'll delete it on the phone, or vice versa, contact integration, calendar integration, G Drive integration, a lot of fun stuff. So we'll talk to you about that. The contact center, right? It was formerly ECC. If you go to Connect, it's now called Contact Center. Amazing where these guys come up with these names, right? And the biggest takeaway for me is people, again, don't like to manage software. They want everything to be web-based. So when you get to Connect and you upgrade your ECC, you will now get browser, web-based tools for your agent interaction center. Also the ability to have multimedia, multi-channel for the ability to take, email, web chats, callbacks, and regular voice with skills-based routing on all those. You could do that in the ECC. It was just not as clean as it is today in ECC for Connect, or Contact Center, which is for Connect. Cleaner real-time information for people, really about empowering the agents so they have more power. It's, the term you hear nowadays is customer experience. What you used to have, before that you heard about the agent experience. I want to empower my agent. So we have the ability to empower my agent, and now we're going to the CX, the customer experience, and making sure the customer is dictating the way you guys communicate with them, and that's coming in a second. So what do you do for call recording and quality management? So Mitel bought a company called Oasis, and they actually did this when ShoreTel was independent on their own. Mitel said no more support for ShoreTel. Mitel buys ShoreTel. They bring back support for Oasis for Mitel, for ShoreTel. So now this is available today, called recording, quality management, reports, all the things that you know and love from these types of things are available from the Oasis product, which is now called MiVoice Recording. Right Metrics has been around for a long time. This is not part of Connect. This has been around since 13 or 12 or even 11. This is the ability for me to get some incredible data analytics out of your existing ShoreTel phone system. You hear big data. Big data is lots and lots of information. We don't have lots and lots, but there are some very valuable information. But the term data analytics applies to big data and whatever we're calling our small data. Data analytics, what am I doing with those numbers? We've got some amazing things that we can do within your call flow, within your setup of your automated attendant. We've got ECC reporting. We've got work group reporting, some light workforce optimization, so you can do some scheduling. There's some really cool things. This is like $2,000 a year. And this tool in itself is amazing. We'd love to show that to you. If you're interested, make sure you get a hold of us. So those are everything I've talked about so far. Is if you upgrade tomorrow, that's what you get, right? Now, if you upgraded a year ago to Connect, now I'm going to talk about stuff that is on the next versions of Connect, and basically the Connect roadmap. Where's the product going after you get to Connect? So as I mentioned, I'm on the advisory council. We had a meeting yesterday for 2 hours reviewing this one slide. I actually stole a couple other slides. So I don't know how much of this I'm actually supposed to be telling you guys, but I'll ask for forgiveness rather than permission. But I'm really excited about where the product is going. I just tell them they can't get there fast enough, and they're trying, and they're doing some really fun stuff. They've added a ton of people and a ton of money to their R&D. So I'm excited the product is alive and well and going in the right direction. There's always a fight between sales and marketing, and there's always a fight between sales and product development, right? We want it faster, 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 and they're like, we'll get it to you, but we got to make sure it's clean and we don't disrupt everything else. So it's a fine balance. But in a nutshell, the green's already out. The blue's coming out. So in end of September, we'll have some cool things, some phones. I'm kind of stealing everything, but I'm going to go to the last two bullet points there. VMware support and things for us, some servers are going to come preloaded. So this isn't too customer facing, but we'll get to the first two bullet points there in a second. The next one is really exciting for me. Well, the one blue down below, that's probably going to come out before the end of the year, which should be. And the real takeaway there is the 6970 phone, and really the Hyper-V support. So if you do Microsoft Hyper-V, this is a big. People are very excited about this. I'm going to talk about the two other bullet points in a second here. So now conceptually, where they're going in the second quarter of 2020, and the one on the right, from what they're saying, these should be folded in as well. So there'll be a big release in 20. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the 19.1 comes in 19, the 20 comes in 20, and so they're going back to an old nomenclature of ShoreTels that the release should mirror the year that it comes out very, very closely. Sometimes they slip, but they're trying to go back to that nomenclature. Some security enhancements coming out, and I've got a slide on all this stuff here, so I'm going to skip through this and go into the slides. I think that's most exciting for us is the ability to have these 6900 series phones that have been out on the competing MiVoice business now come to the MiVoice Connect. So we're going to have the 6920, 6940, 6930s they're available on Connect Cloud today, and the GA version of this will be the end of September. So the code that's coming out the end of September that I showed you earlier, we'll be able to have these phones on them. Very exciting. We'll be able to accept orders for these September 1st. They've already put together a marketing program that if you buy 3, you get 1 free. And I would imagine that's going to go through the end of the year. I can double check on that. So both on the 400 series phones and the 6900 series phones, it's a buy 3, get 1 free. Very exciting. What do these products do? They have some really cool accessories, right? The first one up here, top right, is the button box. 2 of the 3 phones on the previous model are Bluetooth handset enabled and headset enabled Bluetooth as well. Wireless LAN adapter, so you can actually, if you don't have a 10100 or a gig, you can actually put a wire. It's going to go over your Wi-Fi. We have the ability to do DECT headsets, wall mount, and a Bluetooth speaker. So if you want to plug in a little USB in the back of the phone, I now have this nice saucer type speakerphone that I can put Bluetooth, you know, what is that, 15 or 20 feet away from the phone. So fun stuff. There's a cordless DECT phone coming out later. It's out. It'll be integrated for us a little later this year, next year. This one is solving a lot of problems for us right now. Right now, the 655 that I hope you know and love has been discontinued just because they can't get parts for them. I have a bunch of them refurbished, but for net new, large deployments need a ton of them. You just can't get them. So we've been without a home, without a conference room phone for some time now. The 6970, really cool phone. Big fan of what it's going to do. It will be connected in first quarter of 2020. Very excited about that. The contact center. So I talked about ECC, and I talked about contact center, which is basically ECC 10, for Connect. That product has served us very, very well for a long, long time. What Mitel did is they looked at all their product lines and figured out where the overlap was, figured out which product was the better one to continue on with. And so ECC, sometime next year, maybe the year after, probably next year, will go end of sale. And the MiVoice Connect, MICC, which is the product that Mitel had before the purchase of ShoreTel, will now work on the MiVoice Connect, your product. You have to get to Connect. So this product is coming in the, they say third quarter, I'm calling fourth quarter. We're doing field trials. I've seen it work. It's there. It's cool. And we're big fans of it. The biggest thing for me is the integration to APIs, which are basically REST APIs, right? The ability to have these next generation integrations, what all contact centers want. ShoreTel never kept pace with the ECC, now CC, for integration. So we had to do a lot of cumbersome middleware. And I'm very excited that we now have this new product in 30 days that is now available to us. Good news is, like for like software will be upgraded at no charge. The additional, so if you don't have email, then you got to pay for email. If you don't have social, you got to pay for social. If you don't have web chat, you got to pay for it. But if you had that stuff in the ShoreTel, the Mitel Connect, ECC, CC, you'll get it in the MICC. So there'll be a like for like upgrade. That'll allow us to do these more thorough integrations to all the other CRMs and contact centers and workforce optimization tools that we're now investing in. So the two things I love most is it's true omni-channel versus multi-channel, where you can blend these two and have experiences overlap and change from one to the other. And really the artificial intelligence. We have the ability to integrate into things like Google AI to do predictive routing and do things for your help desk and do answers that are basically self-help type things, right? The biggest word of today is CX, customer experience. Half these people don't even want to talk to an agent, so they want to self-help. The other half want to talk to an agent, but you want to try to help them out as much as you can before they get to you. And they all want to be talked to via, Twitter, via Facebook, via Instagram, all the different social media type methodologies that they're using. They want to talk to the contact center that way. We have the ability to put social media awareness as well as social media connections together, all, omni-channeled and skills-based routing. So this is the product that's doing it. Love to talk to you more about it. So I talked to you about Oasis. So Oasis has been around for about 10 years. It's not the next generation type products. There's now a product that's in place on their cloud side of the world from Mitel that's going to be provided to us on the premise side, made by ASC. Instead of doing tappy wave and port mirroring that we have to do for this voice recording and then screen recording, there's a new protocol called SIP-REC, and this is now what the ASC product uses, and it's coming to our product sometime next year. Very excited about that. Not to say the Oasis and other products are still not available and might be the right solution for you. Those solutions they're owned by Mitel. They'll still be around for 5 to 10 years. It's just not where the world is going and the next generation products, right? What I'm trying to allude to here is ShoreTel and Mitel have a path forward for all this next generation type stuff. Here's a fun one. Very excited about this. Ingate has been very, very, very good to us. Mitel has their own border gateway, session border gateway to terminate SIP trunks. End of this year, we'll be able to have the Mitel border gateway support SIP trunks for ShoreTel. Very excited about that. Not a game changer by any means. What is a game changer is the edge gateway that you get when you get to, that's no charge, that you get to when you get to Connect for the remote phones. There were some fundamental problems. We could only have one system per image, so our large organizations couldn't take advantage of it. You could only connect, 300 or 400 at a time, so that precluded our large organizations from doing it. So we hemmed and hawed, and finally Mitel responded and saying, all right, this Mitel border gateway, which is doing SIP trunks phase 1, will do the edge gateway replacement phase 2. I'll be able to do 1,000 connections per edge gateway, and I'll do 4 Mitel border gateways per image. So amazing. They're listening to us. They're getting it done. This will all be at 100% by, mid next year, end of next year. The first phase of the edge gateway replacement, the 6900 series phones will connect, and they're hopeful that the Connect client will also connect at that time. If not, it'll be several months after that. So big fans of what's going on here. Mitel has 4 or 5 different hardware platforms that they bought from Toshiba, Intertel, Ericsson, ShoreTel, etc. So they can't develop products and applications for every one of these. So they basically put a code level that abstracts things so we can get to the cloud, and I can develop applications once in the cloud and let them be available to all their different products. Called CloudLink, very exciting, cool stuff. Their first product is called MoMA, and this is their mobility application for Connect. So now I'm going to have mobility. The mobility router that you have today is still there, still around, probably alive for another at least 2 years, but they're trying to, and they are developing these new type applications in the cloud that you can consume on an OpEx model that'll have voice, chat, all the different things that you want in this remote mobility client, teamwork, Slack type applications, all within this client. This is coming very, very quickly to us. So that's kind of the future of Mitel Prem, how we can get you to Mitel Cloud, right? Very easily. The phones are the same phones, the client are the same client, so it's very easy for us to get you from Mitel Prem to Mitel Cloud. right? There are other alternatives out there that we can talk about, right? So, why cloud? First of all, we are dedicated. We have 750 ShoreTel customers on premise, and we are going to keep you alive and well and going forward to the next path and the next releases and, tons of future enhancements. But in my eyes, it's inevitable that you get to the cloud in the next 3, 5, 10 years. So we're actively helping our customers who are on premise get them to cloud, right? To me, the difference in premise cloud is just, there's no hardware to maintain and set up and program. It's all inside the cloud. So you still need people like us to understand how we get from point A to point B to get to the cloud, how to set up the cloud and train and install and program and do the routing and do the cutover and do the support and do the troubleshooting. So there's still a ton of relevancy for Packet Fusion in the cloud world as we make this transition from prem to cloud. Needless to say, we're still 55 people. 90% of my revenue comes from premise-based customers just like yourself. We're in this game for a long, long, long time. But if you're looking at cloud, let us help you. Why cloud? OpEx versus CapEx. You're paying monthly versus a one-time fee. Your CFO can then expense it differently. I can expand and go down in a matter of minutes. The security people have to do, Sarbanes-Oxley, have to do GDPR, have to do all these things, HIPAA, all these things you have to do for your own premise. All of a sudden you put it in, GCP or AWS, which are the hyperscalers, the cloud versions of infrastructure. You just get all this all these security measures are now just checkboxes. Disaster recovery, business continuity, checkbox. Accessibility, you could connect to it from anywhere. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to show you an ROI or TCO that's going to save you money over a certain amount of time. Flexibility of upgrades and how you do it and where you're going to expand and the people you have to hire. Innovation, upgrades are included. They just happen overnight. The next day you get a new feature for the same price. And this is my favorite one, right? Your core focus. My mantra is do what you're good at, and anything that doesn't affect your delivery or your value to your customers, outsource that to me. If what you're doing doesn't differentiate you for your customers, you should outsource that to me or to a cloud provider and let yourself and your people that work for you focus on revenue top line things and bring in more revenue and add more value to the business and let the day-to-day operations managed by us in the cloud, right? So that's kind of the core focus. We're wrapping it up here. We're getting close. So our customers know they need to get to the cloud, but they don't know how to get there. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times people say, oh, I'm just going to go to the cloud. I'm going to go over here and plug in. No, we don't need you. And then all of a sudden they come back, oh, my God, this is crazy. I need your help, right? There's all these things that you still need to know. It's not as simple as just plugging in and you go, right? There's still a lot of complexities and a lot of things that the 25 years that I and we and all of us, the 1,000+ years of experience we have at Packet Fusion add value to the cloud and your transition to it. Let us show you how to get there. So what's our process, right? We come in, we do a business process review. So what products are you using? What tools are you using? What your infrastructure look like? We map that out entirely, see all the duplicitous things that you're doing. We gathered numbers, we got dollars, what you're spending on it. With that, we create a basic needs requirement, which we get to you guys. You guys say yes, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. We then create an evaluation criteria of how we're going to judge people on things. We issue an RF. We figure out who we're going to do for the vendor involvement and the selection, issue an RFP. Again, we're managing this whole process. We figure out who is going to be invited back to do proof of concept our way, not their way. We manage that. We create an evaluation survey for all the people in the proof of concept. With that, with the TCO, we come up with a executive summary based on all of our feedback that we can deliver who the winner is to your executive, work on with you the contract negotiation, work on the implementation and ongoing support, right? So our products that we do today that we're certified on the premise is Mitel and Genesis. Genesis, we bought a company 2 years ago. Genesis is the high-end contact center. We have about 40 customers on-premise contact centers and about 10 in the cloud on Genesys contact centers. Unbelievable product. UCaaS, Unified Communications as a Service. I've got people certified on all of these products. So we're able to know the ins and outs, problems, good, bad, and different, of where all these products are good and bad, understand your needs, feather them together, and figure out how we can go and which is the right people to come in and bid on your product. And then ongoing support, we're certified on all these, and we augment the existing support with them. Same thing on the CCaaS side. So we are relationships with all these guys, all these different players, and we'll do a full end-to-end analysis of what you're doing, how you're doing it, business process review, and help you get to the next generation contact center. And then there's some hardware that we've done forever that's just kind of, you have to do this stuff. Not as exciting as the stuff on the left, but it's just stuff you have to do. So our concept is, listen, I'm going to help you stay on premise for as long as you want to be on premise, and we're going to get every last dollar and benefit out of that premise-based system that is humanly possible. Mitel is committed to this product. They're committed to keeping it alive. They're committed to adding to it. They're adding R&D. So this product that you guys are on today, once you get to Connect, is alive and well for a long, long time. But to me, it's inevitable that you're going to get to the cloud at some point. So we've actually changed our tagline. It used to be bringing voice and data together, but that was so, 2000s. We kind of got rid of that tagline. We didn't have a tagline for a long time. And then just recently we came up with, because of our dots that we already had in our logo, it's connecting the dots to the cloud. So let us show you the way. So our concept is, we'll keep you alive. We will add amazing value on what you're doing today on your premise-based stuff, but at some point you're going to look at cloud, think of us first, and let us help you get there. And again, there's no cost for our service. The economics change that the carriers and the providers pay us, and with that money, we're able to augment professional services and consulting services at no charge to you. All right, with that, I think, are there materials? So there's some basic questions here. Got that one thing. Okay, right, here we go. Questions. There's a question drop down on the left-hand side of the tool that you guys are using. It says questions. If you want to type questions in there, you can. Somebody just got audio only. We're going to send out this, send out the recording to you guys here momentarily, and there are some people that didn't make it, so we'll send that out to you. Can the Connect client for Chrome be used for Prem? Is it only for Chrome? So can the Connect client for Chrome be used for Prem, or is it only for customers in the cloud? Everything I showed you is Prem only. So all the stuff that I showed you was premise-based only. So yes, the Connect client does work for Prem. The Connect client also does work for cloud, by the way. Well, you say no charge for professional services for an upgrade. Is that Connect only, or do you? Yeah, so great question. You say no charge professional services for an upgrade. Is that for upgrading Connect only, or would you include upgrading from on-prem to cloud? Yeah, no charge. So one is included in your support agreement, the upgrade from Prem, from 14.2 to Connect. Obviously no charge, like we've never charged, in the 17 years I've unpacked Fusion. When you go from Prem to cloud, again, that's consulting fees and professional services on the backside. We're getting paid by the provider, so there will be no charge for that as well. So the answer is no charge. Okay. Is there an EFAX option? Absolutely. So all the providers have an EFAX option depending on, this is where we come in and do the needs analysis and what is your faxing requirements. Sometimes your faxing requirements are so robust that we need to get you to a third party that does just faxing, because none of the providers will do what you need to do. Some say, hey, every single one of my customers need to have it. There are solutions that included at no charge or in the base price, you get faxing for everybody. There's others, they charge you literally $7 a user for fax, so we want to stay away from those guys. So depending on your needs, we're going to have faxing go to 1, 2, or 3 different places. So the answer is e-faxing is included on cloud. E-faxing for your Prem, I do have, multi-tech fax servers. I do have write faxes. I do have also Cloud-based services is really where everybody's going, and the cloud-based services can augment your premise-based phone system. So hit us up on that. Oh, there's another question. How can I do information, documentation, unavailable upgrade options? So how can I obtain additional information, documentation on available upgrade options? So what I would encourage everybody to do is, you've got my email address because that's how you signed up for this. If you don't know who your account manager is, or if you don't know your client service organization, feel free to reach out to me, but you should know somebody in client services, and you should know your dedicated your dedicated account manager. Reach out to them. We can set up an hour call with our project manager and one of the upgrade engineers, and we can talk more about the product, what it's doing, where it's going, show you physically what it's doing, and talk about the detailed upgrade process, because it is a process. Oh. So, I don't need to upgrade at this time since I'm on build 27 with ShoreTel already. You see, 25, 27, yeah. So whoever's on this one right here, you're on build, you're on server 25, you're on the 100D, you're already on Connect. You got a bite of what's going on with Connect and the future direction of Connect. So you're kind of ahead of the game. You've got the latest and greatest hardware. You're very close on latest release of Connect, but there are more things coming down the road for Connect, as I alluded to the last 10 slides or so. I'll stick around for another minute or so. If anybody else wants to throw in some questions, feel free. Couple more. All right. Oh, here we go. How do we get started? Yes. Email myself. Email sales@packetfusion.com. Talk to your dedicated account rep or our client services group. We've got 7 people in client services, so hopefully they're reaching out to you and you know who to talk to there. If you don't, feel free to talk to me. As I mentioned, I've got a full team that just does upgrades, so we will do full project planning and demos, and beat this thing to death, right? Or make sure that this upgrade goes well, and everybody gets the value out of the support agreement and gets the value out of the ShoreTel phone, the Mitel phone system. I don't, Timothy. Okay. All right. So Timothy Wong, I'll reach out to you personally right after this. Thank you for that. With that, I think we'll end it. I'll stay on if people want to. I'll stay on for another 5 minutes if people want to keep answering questions. But with that, we'll end it. Unless there's more questions, I'll stick around for another 5 minutes or so. Oh, got a question. Do the IP420/480 series phones with Mitel work with Mitel Connect? Well, I'll even do you one better. The ShoreTel IP430 that came out in 2001 still works. So all the 200 series phones, the 655, all the 400 series phones, there's not a phone that ShoreTel, now Mitel, ever manufactured that won't work on Connect. So the answer is yes, it will work on Connect. And the 420s easily just repoint the IP address to ShoreTel Mitel Cloud, and now you're consuming it at an OpEx model. So super easy transition if you've got the 400 series phones to go to cloud. One more. There we go. We have switches. Do we have to upgrade them? No. If you've got the so we have ShoreTel half-width switches. Do we have to upgrade them when moving to Connect? The answer is no. They all work. So very cool.